ultimately, if we associate more with the non-physical side of us, then we will be more growth-centric in our understanding of life. And how do you grow? Well, go to the physical body for an example. You put it in the gym and you push it past its comfort zone. And if you do that, it is pre-programmed to return with a better version of itself. You put yourself in a place where you are stretched emotionally, energetically, spiritually. You are pre-programmed to return with a better version of yourself, providing you understand that's why you're here.
Yeah, you better. Guess you want this, I want this. Everybody in this, what should have it? Stop illusions, it's in your hands. Show yourself, reveal it to them. Yeah, you better. Check the time to recognize it. You won't leave me even if you try it. You're the artist, I'm the mess, and happily be found the new in your hands.
Today, I'm sitting down with one of the most inspiring minds in human potential, Peter Sage. Peter is a world-renowned entrepreneur, international speaker, and expert in personal transformation who decided to dedicate his life to teaching people how to master their own inner world so they can thrive in the outer one. He left school at just 16 years old and went on to build more than 20 companies across multiple industries, proving that mindset and vision matter far more than circumstances or credentials. Peter has delivered 7 TEDx talks, shared the stage with icons like Sir Richard Branson, and trained leaders from some of the world's top organizations. He's also the author of The Inside Track, a best-selling book that documents how he turned one of the hardest experiences of his life, being wrongfully imprisoned, into a powerful spiritual awakening and a masterclass in emotional resilience. Today, Peter mentors entrepreneurs, executives, and change makers around the world through his programs on self-mastery, consciousness, and leadership, helping them move from force to flow, from fear to freedom, and from survival to significance. Welcome, Peter Sage. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Unlimited with Elisabeth Carson. Today, I am so honored to have this amazing human being here with me today, Peter Sage. Thank you so much for being here with me, Peter. You know, we were just in Bali together at the I Am Creation Summit, and unfortunately there, we didn't really get a chance to connect or talk. And then I was looking at your social media and I'm like, oh my gosh, his messages are amazing. So thank you so much. I'm just so grateful that we get a chance to connect now.
Well, Elizabeth, I'm really honored to be here as well. I mean, you have an amazing platform. You've got a great tribe, and if there's anything I can do to contribute something to them over the next hour or so, then yes, of course, it'll be a pleasure. So, yeah, happy to dive in.
Thank you so much, Peter. Okay, for people who don't know you, can you just tell us a little bit about you, where you come from, what your story is? I know there's so much to it, so if you could touch on it just a little bit.
I'll do just a very basic kind of overview, because one of the things I always want people to understand is that as much as you can beef up a bio, I'm just a guy. Yeah, I'm you in a different movie. That's all. There's nothing special that I do, that I've done, that anybody else can't do. We all have our path and gifts to give. But I dropped out of school at 16. I've got no formal qualifications. I couldn't spell MBA. And when it came to what I wanted to do, I wanted to be an entrepreneur. So I ended up starting my first business at 17, with my last $20. And 35 years later, I'm 53 now. I'm essentially been 3.5 decades unemployable, and probably 27, 28 international businesses. Some have been spectacular successes, multi-million-dollar companies. Some have been wonderful failures, majestic sort of flops. Some have wiped me out completely. Some have made me very wealthy, and everything in between. Some of them should have stayed ideas when I was drunk. But through that journey, it's been a fascinating ride. And alongside that, I've always had a second passion. My first passion was always business entrepreneurship. My second passion was personal growth, personal development, and specifically over the last probably quarter of a century, human behavior. What makes us do what we do? What makes us get out of bed in the morning happy or not? We're not taught that at school. And as we live our life and experience our life through the domain of emotion, why are so many people lacking in emotional mastery when that really should be the first thing we should master? So that's really been my journey, and yeah, along with all the ups and downs. But if I could sum up really what my primary mission is, and certainly here today, again, not making it about me. I don't care if people know or remember my name. My job here is to be able to hold up a mirror, to be able to remind you of your own greatness. Because for so many people, that mirror gets very foggy. And if I can help wipe a little bit of the fog off so that you can see in you what I see in you, what you see in your tribe, so that they can see what you see, then we can leave the world a little bit better place.
Wow, amazing. Amazing. I align so much with so much that you just said, but you said something key. So you said that you've been diving into studying human behavior. So what have you found out about human behavior? Why are we the way that we are? And why are some people more aware than others? Some people hold on to things more than others. What's your opinion on that?
Well, the primary factor that governs a person's journey through life, it's not biological maturity. We know that. Yeah, there's a huge difference between biological maturity and emotional maturity. And they're not correlated. There's a lot of emotional teenagers running around some pretty adult bodies. And biological maturity is part of the rule set. I don't care how many creams you put on. I don't care how many vitamins you take. 20 years from now, Elisabeth, you're going to look different to you did 20 years ago. That's just part of the game. We know that. Yeah. But emotional maturity is a choice. And one of the greatest days in a human being's life on their journey of emotional maturity, one of the grand stepping stones to step up that ladder, is the day we wake up to realize and come to terms with the fact that life is a growth-centric experience, not a comfort-centric experience. Yes. Because if we're seeking comfort, we've got to understand that if you just break down the words human being, we are the perfect encapsulation of two things in one: physical and non-physical, outer world, inner world. Human relates to the body. Right? We have a body, we have this avatar that we navigate physical matter reality with while we're starring in this movie of our life. We need a meat suit to run around in. Right? That's what makes it happen. That's what allows us to play the character in the movie of our life. But being, you can't put being in a box and put it on the shelf. You can put a human in the box and put them on the shelf. So human relates to physical, being relates to non-physical, and we are the best of both worlds there. But if we identify, if our center of gravity is more connected with human rather than being, we will associate more with the body than our consciousness, if that makes sense. And our body has a nervous system that is hardwired for comfort. And it's designed that way for a reason. You don't want to sit on an ant's nest. You don't want to stand too close to the fire. So we have constant feedback from our neurology to move the body towards comfort. But if we mistakenly think that we are the body, we're going to then be drawn into the illusion that life is comfort-centric. And it isn't. Life is growth-centric. Everything in nature grows. Why does it grow? So it can contribute. That's just the rules of nature. Look out of your window. I didn't make them up. Yeah. So if we identify more with our energetic side, our being side, our spirit side, whatever you want to call it, pick a label. It's just the mind trying to create words that allow us to wrap around concepts so we can give ourselves the illusion that we understand. But ultimately, if we associate more with the non-physical side of us, then we will be more growth-centric in our understanding of life. And how do you grow? Well, go to the physical body for an example. You put it in the gym and you push it past its comfort zone. And if you do that, it is pre-programmed to return with a better version of itself. You put yourself in a place where you are stretched emotionally, energetically, spiritually. You are pre-programmed to return with a better version of yourself, providing you understand that's why you're here. And as a great example, let's say that you're an athlete and you were born an athlete, but you didn't know you were an athlete. So every time you got put in the gym, you've got this psychotic idiot called a personal trainer that's trying to make you do press-ups until your arms hurt and run on a treadmill till you throw up. Right? You're going to do just enough to tick the box to do the workout to get out of there. If somebody says, hey, I've got a great way you can cheat on your workout, you're going to lean in and listen. But if instead you were born an athlete and you knew you were an athlete and you knew you were here to get the gold medal, somebody says, hey, I've got a great way you can cheat on your workout. You're like, get out of here. And if you're not throwing up in 30 minutes, you want your money back. You want a better personal trainer.
Mhm.
So how you approach life's growth centrism
Uh-huh.
can be from one of two places. You can take the perspective of the muscle fiber. When under extreme pressure, you're sending messages to the brain. Pain signals, stop. What are you doing? I'm being broken down. Or you can adopt the mindset of the athlete that is proud to bust out that last 2 reps that burn and can't lift your arms for 2 minutes. So where your journey on life on emotional maturity is depends whether you think life is comfort-centric or growth-centric. And if you think that life is comfort-centric, then you're going to avoid challenges rather than expect them. And I can already predict the quality of your life because life
Yeah.
will keep slapping you until you
Yes.
get it.
Yes.
Make
Woo, I
sense?
love that. Yes, absolutely. That kind of reminds me of what I feel and kind of talk about is, being in victim mentality, like life is happening to you instead of life is happening through and for you. So when you can grab the idea that life is happening for you, everything is divinely perfect just to help you grow, then you shift your whole reality and perspective of reality, which creates a better one, I think. So let's get into the fact. What do you think about people that have been through so much hardship in your life? I know you have. So, what do you think that's about? Because some people stay in that victim mentality about the hardship, and then someone like you, for instance, like me, we just burst through it on the other side. So, what deciphers the human mind within that situation?
I'll throw back to Einstein. I mean, Einstein rightly said that you cannot solve a problem at the same level of consciousness that created it. And that
Mhm.
sounds intellectual and smart and something like Einstein would say, but how do you pay your mortgage with that on Friday? How do you make it real?
Okay.
And you alluded to the fact that this is different levels of consciousness. You've got the to me, the victim mentality. Everything happens to me, or if only that happened to me, or if only that didn't happen to me. And
Mhm.
people staying at victim level of consciousness are always going to be at the level of victim.
Mhm.
Whereas the next level is the buy me. And buy me is the achiever. It's the hustle mentality. It's you fighting reality. It's to me and buy me are both outer world centric, which means that your
Mhm.
outer world is primary. In to me, everything with teeth can kill you and you're a victim. And the mantra of to me is blame. Yeah.
Mhm.
In the achiever world, you're now starting to take responsibility for your own circumstances, but you're still wrestling reality in the outer world, trying to force it to fit your pictures by getting an extra side hustle or working extra hard or looking for the next hack or whatever it may be.
Mhm.
Challenge with that is that it's exhausting because life is not meant to be outer world centric. You are dealing with the outer world, but that's force.
Yeah.
Power comes from an inner world centricity, meaning that through me is where life's flowing through you. Life is doing the heavy lifting because the universe only has to lift its little finger to get your goals if it feels that they serve you, right? But if we go back to Einstein again, you
Mhm.
can't solve a to me problem at a to me level of consciousness. You can't solve a by me problem at a by me level of consciousness. You've got to go up. But he also said something very profound. He said the most powerful question you could ask or answer in your lifetime is, do you live in a friendly or a hostile universe?
Mhm.
Now, if you live in a hostile universe, to me or by me, right? By me is like you're fighting reality to try to fit your pictures. You're upset when it doesn't go the way your left brain expects it to. To me is you're a victim no matter what.
Mhm.
So if you live in a hostile universe, you're going to be always looking for the hole in the donut. Yeah. Somebody leaves you in a relationship, you can say, well, thank goodness they left. So you're going to say, well, I'm no good, so they left me.
Mhm.
Right. It's always about what's wrong before what's right. But if you live in a friendly universe and that's your global belief that things happen for you, not to you,
Yeah.
then somebody leaves you in a relationship, you can say, well, thank God they went, so they made room for somebody who's right. You're looking for the silver lining in the cloud. You realize every adversity carries with it the seed of an equivalent or greater benefit, to quote Napoleon Hill. The problem in victim mode or in um, buy me mode, in achiever mode, is that you're too focused on the adversity and dealing with it to focus on watering the seed
Mhm.
of the potential greater benefit. So what Einstein was actually pointing to was something more profound. Because the reality, Elizabeth, is we don't live in a friendly universe, nor do we live in a hostile universe. We live in a self-reflecting universe.
Yes.
Two men sat behind prison bars. One saw mud, the other saw stars. Are you being punished, or are you being prepared? Are you stressed because you've got to pick your kids up from school and you're busy?
Yeah.
Are you grateful because you get to pick your kids up from school? There's a lot of childless couples that would love the opportunity.
Yeah.
So one shift in your perspective, your language, bearing in mind, nothing in the outer world changes. You still got to pick your kids up from school. You've still got to deal with whatever's out there, but your association to it determines whether you are going to have a life justifying being a victim, and life will give you more reasons to justify.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you realize life is self-reflecting back, you have a choice every day what wardrobe you want to get dressed from. You want to dress in beggar's clothes, you want to dress in poverty, you want to stand in front of the mirror with a begging bowl. It's going to reflect back. Same thing.
Yeah.
But what about you go to your wardrobe and put on your cape? Doesn't matter what the outer world has to reflect back, but because it doesn't happen instantaneously through what we call the quantum to Newtonian transition point, it acts with a delay. We're trained that in by me, if I go out and make 50 sales calls, I can get results now. And through me, you set the intention for the result that you want. You have zero doubt. You have trust in the universe because you live in a friendly universe, and you're consistent with that. At some point, the universe will engineer the fact that you're standing in a lineup in Starbucks and you get chatting to somebody who becomes as good as a 50-person customer.
Yeah.
But you've got to give it time to pattern down from your consistency of thinking to the actualization. And that's exactly the same as if we go to the gym. You don't walk into a gym 30 pounds overweight and walk out fit. You walk out
Right.
sore. But you have no doubt that if you continue to put in the work, to work with the diet, that at some point downstream, you're going to look different. But most people think, oh, I meditated on positive thinking and winning the lottery, and it's been 2 weeks, I'm still broke. It doesn't work.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And we live in an instant gratification society. Everyone, they want it now. It's like, if we can just pause and take a beat for a second and really embody all of that. I think it has to do a lot with getting these thoughts and beliefs into your subconscious. What do you think about that?
Well, when it comes to beliefs and subconscious, again, it's almost like the mind's creating labels to be able to navigate concepts that it really doesn't understand. We are an adaptation machine, meaning that if you currently live in Bali, or where do you live?
Oh, Florida.
Okay, Florida, perfect. I'm in East Coast right now. I'm in Virginia right now. So you don't really spend a lot of time in winter wearing ski gear, right? But if you lived in Norway, you would, it's a colder climate. If you went up to north of Canada, you would have a different wardrobe.
Yep.
But more than that, your body would adapt. So if you go to visit the Yukon territory right now, you would shiver when the locals are wearing t-shirts. If they came to Florida, they would be sweating, and you'd be saying, well, it's actually quite chilly today, because you will have acclimatized, your body adapts.
Yeah.
Again, as within, so without, as above, so below. The inner world is always mirrored from conceptually as the outer world. Like I said, you go to the gym, it's a great metaphor for understanding personal transformation, or being able to use the law of creation or assumption to be able to bring in what you want from the non-physical. So when it comes to beliefs are simply what we have. What is a belief? A belief is nothing more than a feeling of certainty about something. That's what it is. It's a construct. And the fact that you feel certain about that for so long that reinforces that belief essentially just makes it the fact you've acclimatized to that belief. So your body is beautifully designed to reacclimatize to its environment. Physically, we know that. Another example would be coffee. If you don't drink coffee, you give somebody a double espresso, it's fun to watch. They're wide out of their mind. You give your average Italian a double espresso before bed, they can still sleep, right? Because they're guzzling coffee all day. So the cellular response has adapted to a bloodstream that is used to high caffeine. high cortisol, high caffeine. So it basically adapts, so it doesn't affect you as much. If you right now have a financial belief that you are worth X, that is self-reinforced by your current outer world. Right now, people don't like hearing it, but they are not earning a penny more than what their self-worth is telling them that they're worth.
Yes.
But if you were to hang around with a couple of multimillionaires, over a period of time, their belief system you would adapt to. Just like the caffeine, over time, your bloodstream adapts to the what's called the receptor sites on the cellular wall will adapt and signal the fact that caffeine is okay, and they've adapted accordingly. Your skin in sun will adapt a shade darker accordingly because your brain is producing more melanin. You get the idea. So your belief system operates on the same principle, which is why the most powerful impact of a belief system is what you're continually exposing yourself to. Even if you live in a sunny climate, even if your relatives and friends are all broke, what can people do in a sunny climate? Ice baths, for example, will condition you to get used to the cold, right? And you will acclimate. So you're creating your own environment, even though it's sunny outside. If all of your friends are broke, what are you doing to program yourself listening to podcasts on abundance, surrounding yourself or reading books on examples of people that started with nothing and became multimillionaires, whatever it may be? Constant programming, environment, set yourself up to win, because your environment beats will over time, every time. So if you don't realize that, oh, how do I get rid of my unconscious programming? Well, you don't get rid of it, you overwrite it. You don't get rid of the fat on the body. You simply give the body better nutrition and a training program that it readapts to. You overwrite the fat body with the fit body. But if you focus on how do I stop being fat rather than how do I focus on getting more fit, you're going to stay fat because that's where your energy is. So when it comes to understanding the financial blueprint as a common one, because most fear is caused from most people through their current relationship to money, and as a result, what's expressing itself in their self-reflecting universe. I mean, people without money think that money will solve their problems. We know that doesn't work. But the reason they have that as a belief is most of somebody who doesn't have money, most of their immediate problems are focused or can be attributed to lack of money. So they can't pay the rent. That's where their fear comes from. It's where there's the alligators nearest to the boat. It's like, oh, how do I cover the school fees? I need to pay the mortgage. I need to, I wish I could order off the left side, not the right side of the menu. I wish I could turn left on an airplane. So most of their immediate problems that they focus on are attributed to lack of money. But, I've made millions, tens of millions of dollars, up and down my career. I can promise you, when you get money, your problems don't go away. You just get bigger, better problems.
Yeah.
How do I now, fix the irrigation system on my one of my multi-million-dollar homes? Right, it's a problem. I need to fix it. Right, it's different quality problems. And so I'd like those kind of problems. Yeah, well, you're never going to have those problems if you don't fix your relationship to money. And I say to people, have you ever asked yourself the question? It's a revealing question, and it's evident by the answer that they haven't. But would you rather make money or build wealth? Now, when you ask the question, the answer is self-evident. Which would you rather do, Elizabeth?
Build wealth.
Yeah. But why don't most people answer that question? Because they've never asked it. And why don't most people build wealth? Because they're too busy trying to make money. Which means that they're focused on trying to get something that's a byproduct or a consequence of a human construct rather than understand what wealth is. They're not financially intelligent. I'm not surprised you never taught that at school. It's not their fault. They've grown up, most people, with more references as to why money is bad rather than why money is good. If you saw your parents fighting over money, as most of us did, I was born on a low-cost government housing estate. My parents never had money. But if you watch mum and dad fight over money as a youngster, you're going to link the concept, the subject of money, to a lack of psychological safety. And as much as the front part of your brain says, I want the car and the Ferrari and the house and the blah, blah, and the jewelry and all the rest of it, your unconscious is going to say, boom, right, money equals pain. And if it comes, I'm going to get rid of it. Just so you need to overwrite that. That's it. You need to train yourself. You need to have references, continuous references, to give yourself a feeling of certainty, a belief that money is incredibly good. You can do amazing value, that you're worth it, that you generate it. Because if you think money's external, it's the big misdirection that most of the secret societies have imposed on humanity so they can keep control. Right? And that's another podcast. But if you feel that money is an external thing you've got to get, you're in the wrong. You're in Disneyland. You're going to have an empty wallet for life. Yeah, it's like me going into a gym and saying, "Hey, personal trainer, I've got a deal for you. I'm looking at all these weights. They look pretty heavy. Why don't you give me the strength first, and then I'll go lift them?"
Right.
You're sitting in front of a cold fire at night and say, "Hey, just taking a negotiation class. Fire, got a deal for you. Give me some heat. I'll go fetch you some wood." No, you don't do that.
Right.
But people go out trying to find money rather than understand money is nothing more than a human construct that was invented as a way to benchmark perceived value. In other words, if you're chasing money, you're going to chase your tail.
Yeah.
If you chase how can I add value, you can look over your shoulder one day and see that somebody's given something out of their pocket called money to benchmark that value. Because the only time you've ever got money is by if you've given something for it first. The only time you've ever got strength is if you've lifted the weights first. The only time you've ever been warm is because you put the wood in the fire first. So if you're chasing money, you're always going to chase your tail. And that's the illusion. See, when you realize that money is an unlimited renewable resource, my relationship to money, I'm very proud of. I can turn it on like a tap in a bath. But how do most people see it? They say, oh no, right? I need to keep filling the bath with water. I need to keep filling my bank account with money. There's never enough in there. And there's holes where it all falls through. And even if the bath is full, I need to get more in case the bath leaks or whatever. It's a dysfunctional relationship. But what if you knew, right? Because if you go and have a bath, as I'm sure you do, right? You look like you take care of yourself, some self-care. You'll have a nice night once a week with candles and incense and, and just soak in a tub and turn your phone off and love yourself, right? We should all do that. But you don't say, oh my God, I've got to go find where the water's going to come from. And it's like, oh my God, I've got to plug all the holes in the bath. No, you put the plug in, you turn the tap on. And what happens after you finish? You pull the plug. Do you sit there crying because all the water's going out of the bath? No, because you know you can turn the tap on again. Now, when you have that relationship to money, your financial situation will change. But most people can't get there because they don't congruently believe money is a renewable, unlimited resource they can turn on or tune into anytime. They're too busy trying to hoard it, too busy trying to hunt it, too busy thinking that there's a finite amount. Oh my God, they think it's a pie, small pie mentality. If I've got to get my slice of pie, and if I don't, it's because somebody's having a bigger slice, that means I'm getting a smaller slice. Whereas money and the economy is like a vocabulary. Just because you're fluent in French doesn't mean to say I can't learn. You don't have the right to have all of the vowels or synonyms in French, and therefore I don't have any. No. Money's like a vocabulary. You learn how to speak money, you can have as much as you want.
Yeah.
It's unlimited. It grows in mysterious ways. Now, if I've got a house and my house is worth $1 million, and then all of a sudden the government announce a renovation program, they're going to put in a new social club or country club or sports club or better public transport services in my village and take some government budget and spruce it all up. What happens to the value of my home? It goes up. Yeah. My home is worth more now. It's in a more desirable area.
Yes.
Right. But did the quality of the bricks suddenly change? No. Did my square footage suddenly increase? No, see, money's a mind game. It's a perceived, perceptional game, and you can take as much or as little as you want. As I said earlier, you know how to tune in. The universe only has to lift its little finger to make things happen. If you absolutely avoid, doubt, because when your heart and your mind are aligned, and you make a declaration, I'm done playing small. I deserve abundance. I am abundance, and that heart and mind is unified.
Yeah.
Then the only thing that can drive a wedge between the heart and the mind is doubt.
Yes. That's so good. Oh my God. I love this so much. It's so crazy, Peter. This just happened to me the other day. So I just got back from a beautiful retreat called 40 Years of Zen. It's Dave Asprey's retreat, and it's a bunch of meditating and neurofeedback. And I was in the pod, and I was doing a kind of an experiment. And I was like, I am abundance. Money comes to me. It will show up. Money will show up. And I just kept going over this in my head. The next morning, I wake up in my bank account, there's more money. I'm like, where did this come from? That was crazy. And it was just a huge check that I got from one of the social platforms, the biggest I've ever gotten before for, posting and all that stuff. And I was like, I didn't even know it was possible to make that. So, boom, I tapped into the tap of money and it was like magic.
See, in my world, there's something more crazy about that.
Huh.
It's crazy the fact you think it's crazy.
Oh, yeah. I know. You're right.
You see, if you go to the gym and train, and you
Mhm.
go in and you do let's say an arm workout, and actually you want
Mhm.
toned arms, you don't then go bust your ass, sit in the changing rooms, and say, "Oh, what if my arms don't listen today?
Mhm.
What if all that workout was for nothing?" You have
Mhm.
absolute certainty that even though you can't see the results immediately, that it's already happened because you've already put the work in, correct?
Mhm.
See, the physical universe, we understand the rules.
Yeah.
We don't question them because they're every day. Yeah. If you had no understanding of the rules between body shape, diet, and exercise, imagine that. You just didn't know. You're
Mhm.
like, I've got to buy another dress size. I don't know what's happening. I'm putting all this weight on. It's like, I don't get it. Pass me another triple cheeseburger, will you? Right? You wouldn't understand.
Right.
But you understand the rules between diet, exercise, and body shape. They're physical rules. They're non-negotiable. We know them very well, and we either apply the rules or we ignore them. But the rules don't care. They're going to operate.
Mhm.
But if you understand the rules between non-physical abundance, yeah, money, it's the same thing. You do the work, you show up, and of course it's going to happen. It's like,
Uh-huh.
why wouldn't it? Yeah, you're
Uh-huh.
not sitting in the locker room thinking, "Oh my God, I did all of that work, and will the money show up?" Right? Because in the universe it says, "Oh, look, Elizabeth's doubting, so let's give her a whole bunch of things to validate her doubt." Self-reflective
Mhm.
universe. And the
Mhm.
one thing that I would, yeah, help inspire you with that is when people are doing their affirmations. Yeah, all this money's showing up. I'm attracting all this money. You're still future pacing, and there is only now.
Yeah, true.
Meaning, money has shown up.
Yes. Yes.
And
Yeah.
yeah, I've already attracted, and you buy into that. And there's a great technique, yeah, which I'll credit, yeah, the great Neville Goddard for on that,
Mm. I love
that helps a lot of people. And it's the "how did I" technique.
Mhm.
So it's like, and let's say there's nothing in your bank right now, but you're shifting your beliefs because you've got congruency with heart mind that I'm done playing small. I'm done settling for it. I deserve abundance. It was born. It's my natural birthright. And then instead of saying, yeah, I want money or I'm manifesting money or whatever, all this future stuff that you're hoping to make happen, which by the very definition threads into the weave doubt because there's a possibility if it hasn't happened yet that it
Yes.
might not.
Mhm.
So instead, the, yeah, how did I manifest all that wealth?
Mhm.
How did
Mhm.
I get so abundant? And the presupposition there is it's already happened, which closes that gap or shuts the
Yeah.
door on the doubt. And if you
Uh-huh.
make that more of a mantra, how did I manifest all this wealth? And you run down that route, it's more powerful, just as a hint.
Yes, I love that. Thank you so much for the reminder because you're right. There is nothing but the present moment and it already has to. I love Neville Goddard. I listen to him so much. Such a mystical, I mean, his teachings are amazing. I teach people these meditations where they embody the energy of the person that they strive to be now and act as that person daily. And then it just, boom,
Yeah.
it kind of just sinks, right? This is incredible stuff. I call
Yeah.
it magic.
Well, another one of the greatest days in a human being's life on their journey through this incredible movie is the
Mhm.
day they finally realize magic is real.
Mhm. Yes, 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 yes. Yes. So real. It's so real. And you know what? It took me in my journey to go through one of the darkest nights of my soul, just one of the worst things that I've ever been through to really embody and understand that exactly. Because it was like it forced me to allow. My life has been about hustling. I was at that, I will be it instead of allowing what is supposed to be to come through. And so I'm learning this letting go of resistance, this opening up of magic. And it's just showing up in my life daily. And it's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. It's a beautiful thing.
Predictable.
Yes, yes, exactly. You know, what through your journey made you realize this way of thinking, or have you kind of always been this wise?
No, not at all. Yeah, I was in the slow learners club for quite a while.
Uh-huh.
So,
Slow learners club.
but again, I got into personal growth at 17. I was very lucky to come across it at that time. But
Mhm,
most of the focus at that point was very much extreme by me because, as I say, I didn't have any fancy pieces of paper from institutions signed by people I'd never met to try to validate my intelligence.
mhm,
Thankfully, I never suffered the disadvantage of college. But when it came to the level of insecurity, I
mhm,
I was always trying to prove to the world I was good enough. So I got into personal growth to try to learn how to be successful so I could prove to the world I was good enough to get over the
mm,
insecurities as a young man because I was afraid that I wasn't.
mhm,
Yeah, and it was always like, when I make my first million, then I'll be happy. And of course, in my 20s, I became a millionaire and I wasn't happy. Why? Oh, of course, silly me, right? I need to make 2 million in case I lose the first. That's why. So let's go off on that charge.
mm,
Yeah, and I'm 25. I'm buying Ferraris for cash. I'm flying Concorde. I'm doing all the stuff that my friends in school, some of them still there doing their next certificate they think will help them out, are looking at me as Wonder Boy, and I'm feeling inside like I'm a fraud. Imposter syndrome,
mhm,
because I'm not happy because I haven't got the rule set for it. And I was just
mm,
working harder and harder. I've got two successful businesses. I'm still not happy. Clearly, it's because I haven't got a third. And you play the game.
mm,
And I've since worked with people in Japan, for example, worth $700 million that are on Prozac because they're not a billionaire yet. That
mm,
game never ends. Never ends.
mhm,
Whereas if
mhm,
you look back at the 16-year-old version of you, anyone listening to this, right, and you tell that 16-year-old version of you, not as far back for you, right, but if you were to do that and you were to tell them where you've been, experiences you've had, the money you've made, right, or the jobs you've had, or the friends you've made, or the trips you've taken, or whatever it is, they'd look at
mhm,
you right now and think, wow, you made it.
mhm,
And most of us don't contrast it to that. We contrast it to some unattainable thing that we saw in the Rob Report or some fake influencer on Instagram standing next to a rented Lamborghini trying to tell people how to make money. And we think I'm
mhm.
not there yet.
Yes.
And so from my side, it was uh, a significant emotional event. I fell asleep after working 133 hours that week at the office, driving home, and I hit an intersection at 60 miles an hour at 2 o'clock in the morning because I fell asleep at the wheel.
Wow.
And that started my journey of asking better questions.
Uh-huh.
Questions are the steering wheel of the mind. Questions direct focus.
Mhm,
Your brain is a loop closing machine. That's why good books, are page turners because the brain needs to know what happens next. Good
uh-huh,
TV series are cliffhangers because you've got to tune in next week to find out because the brain has to close the loop. So if you ask a question, it's going to close the loop with an answer. It's like
mhm,
having a faithful Labrador. You throw a stick, it's going to bring it back. But if you throw a lousy stick into a muddy pond and the Labrador brings it back wagging his tail and drops it on your white carpet, that's your fault for throwing the wrong stick to the wrong place.
mhm,
But it's not the
mhm,
Labrador's fault. So if you're asking lousy questions, expect lousy answers. Oh God, why does this happen to me? Your brain, it's a stick. It's going to run off and fetch it. And it's going to come
mhm,
back and say, oh, because you're an idiot. Because your dad
mhm,
was right. Because
mhm,
your teachers told you wouldn't amount to anything and you've proven them right, of course. But if you throw a better stick, learn how to ask better questions. And I asked better questions sitting at the side of the road, having nearly killed myself,
mm,
saying, what am I doing? And more importantly, why am I doing it? I thought I was building this freedom dream of, entrepreneur, business, money, blah, blah, blah. I was actually building a monster that was trapping me.
mhm,
And I was chasing an unwinnable game. I was trying to chase the more. And that's running east looking for a sunset. And
mhm,
what do most people do that are running east looking for their sunset? Right? They're blaming their shoes. They're blaming their
mhm,
personal trainer. Oh, I need this hack. I need that hack. Oh, let's go speak to Dave Asprey. He'll have some biohack that means that if I run faster, longer, running east looking for my sunset, I'll finally get there. And it's a
mhm,
different paradigm shift. And I love Dave. We've been friends for many years. Uh, but yeah, it was a case of I needed a paradigm shift. Why are
mhm,
most people biohacking? Because they're trying to hack their way higher up the buy me chain.
mm, mm.
That's what 90% of personal growth is,
Uh-huh,
right?
uh-huh,
It's how do I run faster east to get my sunset? How do I
uh-huh,
10x Grant Cardone? How do I hustle, Gary V? How do I, stop giving myself excuses, Dan Pena, whatever it may be? They are experts at getting people from low buy me to high buy me. That's not my
mm,
game. I take people that are frustrated in buying me that want to learn how to get through me. That's my niche. That's what I do. That's why people have spent 20 years in personal growth come across my work and finally things shift. Because you can't work any more hours. You can't do any more side hustles. You can't learn the next hack or whatever. You've been chasing that hamster wheel for way too long. And now people are exhausted. And they either drop into victim mode to catch their breath, realize that's not where they are, but the business failed or the idea didn't work or the relationship again fell through. And so now they go to victim, then think, well, hang on a minute, this sucks, but I've caught my breath. Let's get back on the horse and buy me and go try my next business, my next side hustle, my next seminar, my next book, because that's where the answer will be. Try my next new pair of sneakers that this time it promises I can get my sunset running east. So, it's a different game. And for me, in my mid-20s, very fortunately, I started asking those better questions and I started really exploring, why are there people out there that don't work 1 billion hours a week, that don't have a 15,000 side hustles, that understand there is a huge difference between a life chasing success and a life chasing fulfillment? Because that's two different mountains. Most people chasing success get to the top of that mountain, having elbowed their way through, having missed their kids' recitals, get to the top, and they want to jump off because they don't like the view, or it's not what they were sold.
Yeah.
How are you able to get financial abundance, which is nothing more than a feeling, by the way? You give a kid in Africa $100, he'll have more sense of abundance than somebody given $10,000 in Florida. It's not the money. If Richard Branson or Jeff Bezos was down to their last $1 million, how do you think they'd feel? Panic. Right? They would press the WTF button. In fact, if they lost everything, how long do you think it would take them to make $1 million again? Branson or Bezos? Not long is the answer.
Right, quick.
See, if I gave that same $1 million to somebody in Brooklyn, the average person there who's struggling to make ends meet would feel massively abundant. Here's the deal. Same $1 million, what changed?
Right. Mindset.
So it can't be about the money. It can't be about the money, because I've just demonstrated. Same $1 million, panic or paradise. Pick your side. So it's not the money. It's not like you put everybody in a sauna at 50 degrees Celsius, right? You're all going to sweat because you all feel the same thing. That's a physical thing. No. You give $1 million to two different people as their last net worth, and some people are going to celebrate and retire, and some people are going to go in a meltdown. Right? So it's not the money. It's your relationship to it. So throughout my 20s, I started asking those questions. How come we've got some people? Would you rather be, worth, a couple of $1 million and have everything you want in terms of internally, or are you going to have $5 million and upset because your number's 10 and you haven't hit it yet? Now, I've got no right to tell people what their number is. But if you understand your relationship to money, 7 years ago, I came out of jail after spending 6 months in the most violent prison in England. And I was $333,000 in debt, no credit rating, 1 month rent in the bank.
Wow.
And I was excited as hell. Do you know why?
Why?
Because I'd never climbed out of a hole that deep before, and I was in awe of how the universe was going to figure it out and give me a ladder. I knew what I had to do. There's a certain percentage that's on my side, just as if you want to lose weight, there's a certain percentage on your side. You've got to go to the gym and lift the weights. If you do that, the magic will happen with the muscles, because that's a rule set beyond your control that's already been written that will allow those to change if you lift the weights. Don't lift the weights, no muscle. If you do the right things, the universe does the magic and brings you the people, circumstances, events, synchronicities, opportunities that'll allow abundance to manifest. I knew that. I've lived it for decades. So I wasn't worried being $333,000 in debt. And for those wondering about why I went to jail, I was the only non-criminal in Britain's most violent prison. Now, I'd never been arrested, never been accused of a crime, still don't have a criminal record. I spent 6 months as a result of a contempt of court application that the $100 million ruthless law firm that was operating for the $140 billion company, both of which will remain nameless, is Hewlett Packard and Mishcon de Reya, which is Princess Diana's divorce lawyers, by the way. Ruthless. And I had no money for legals at the time. I was fighting an old contract dispute from 7 years before where I'd paid millions of dollars for some kit. I'd resold it, small margin, and they came in suing me 7 years later for $17 million because they said they didn't give me permission to resell it. I knew it was bullshit. They knew it was bullshit. And they said, listen, give us $100,000, we'll make it all go away. And I'm like, no, you're just jealous I made more money on the deal than you thought, so you're trying to squeeze. I'm not playing. And so they issued a contempt of court application. And if you go to Dan Penny, for example, I mean, Dan was a mentor of mine when I was in my Buy Me days. I've known Dan nearly 30 years. And he said it's very well. He says litigation, when it comes to business, is nothing more than a tool. Now, it's not about who's right or wrong. It's a tool. When Apple sued Samsung at the Berlin Electronics Fair, it wasn't over patent infringements. There was no patent infringements. It ended up never making it to court. But they managed to get an injunction to stop Samsung putting their products at the Berlin Fair so Apple could get a leg up the ladder in the marketing. Right? It's a business tool, litigation, right? And they threw a contempt of court application. I mean, I thought it was a chess move. I thought the judge would laugh it out of court and give me 6 months and issued me against a lot of money in legal costs against HP. I lost everything. That was 7 years ago. And ended up borrowing a friend's old van, putting in everything I own, plus 2 hungry Jack Russell Terriers, my kids, and driving 2 days down to the south of France, 2 days down to the south of Spain, 2 days on a ferry, and moved to an island called Tenerife to start again. And by that point, I got to about from $350,000 to $250,000 in debt. Still 1 month rent in the bank is what I landed on the island with. And fast forward 6 years later, and $35 million later, it's easy to bounce back when you know how. So, and could it crash again? Of course it could. It's part of the fun. I chose to star in the Love, Abundance, and Adventure movie. And what makes a good movie? Everything. There's comedy and tragedy and romance and heartache. And nobody pays good money to watch James Bond rescue a kitten out of a tree for 90 minutes, right? I want to star in a movie that at the end of this, because we all have a final scene, I can look back and if I'm grateful enough to choose the last words out of my mouth, I go, wow, now that was spectacular. That is a movie I would pay to watch again. Because I'm not taking it with me. That's another illusion around the concept of money, right? The illusion of ownership. I have a beautiful home in Tenerife. No mortgage. 90,000+ square feet, tropical paradise, right? But I don't own it. Because I'm not taking it with me after my final scene. You don't own anything in the physical world. You have the illusion of ownership. Essentially, you're a custodian for while you're here. Just as the person who built this property passed away in 2020. And he spent millions of dollars on this property to make it so amazing. And I was very fortunate that I'm beneficiary of that right now. And I paid millions of dollars for it. But it's not mine. You're not going to pack it up and put it in my coffin. You've never seen a hearse with the roof rack.
Right. Right.
100 years from now, somebody else is going to be living there. So what does that do about ownership? Right? So I don't have this attachment to things. Just I didn't have an attachment to driving my rented Fiat Panda when I reached that island 6.5 years ago at €400 a month. But in my mind, I was driving my next McLaren. Nearly killed myself a couple of times going around a traffic circle because I thought in my mind I was in my McLaren, not the Fiat Panda, and I nearly tipped it. But it was so real for me, Elisabeth, that when I put on the turn signal, the windscreen wipers would come on because in the McLaren, they're on a different side to the Fiat Panda. And it was so real for me. And I was already living it. And when I went out and bought that McLaren, and my partner says, oh, wow, you're excited you're getting the car today? I'm like, well, not really. I've already been driving it for a year or so in my mind. Nothing changes.
Right.
And if I lost everything tomorrow, it'd be a damn good excuse to go again. Because that's the movie I signed up for.
Yeah.
See, I'm not afraid of the end of the movie. Because if you don't know how to reconcile death, how that's going to show up is what you think is, oh, I'm afraid to die. No, you're not. It shows up as I'm afraid to live. And nobody wants to live a boring movie where you're trying to hide out. So go swing the bat, go give your gift, go take risks, go enjoy life. And don't be afraid of if it doesn't go right. I was in the slow learners club for a long time. I've been minus where most people are more times than most people are. You know? But I still live an amazing life. And yeah, so I see you say that now, you're a multimillionaire and all this kind of stuff. That's bullshit. I was just as happy coming out of jail and on that journey up. You ask anybody that was around me at the time. I was excited
Uh-huh.
because I know the rules. And if you master the rules, you'll be excited too. I don't mind if I put weight on because I know the rules on how to get it off, right?
Mhm.
If you didn't know
Mhm.
the rules, you'd be screwed.
Yeah.
I know the rules. And so, oh, how can you lose weight? I've been cutting my calories. Yeah, well, if you're chasing the calorie theory, you're a muppet. Yeah, with the greatest respect, you're not a muppet. You've been following, yeah, outdated advice that muppets are currently still teaching, right?
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
calories don't control weight. Hormones control weight. So if you
Uh-huh.
don't know how to work with your hormones, which are influenced by certain types of calories, there's a connection there.
Uh-huh.
But I know how to lose weight. I know I know my body very well. If I want to put on muscle because I'm training for a certain event, or if I want to lose muscle because I'm training for a different type of event. Yeah, a few weeks ago I ran a marathon at the North Pole. Right? I don't need to carry a lot of muscle for that, right? It's more of a
Uh-huh.
runner's, more of a light. You need more of a lithe, especially as you're wearing life jackets and everything else at the same time because it's running on sea ice. So yeah, but if I want to go build muscle because I want to do another endurance event like I did, about a year ago, I rowed across the Atlantic, right, unsupported in a two-man rowing boat. I needed some pretty strong upper body strength for that and strong core, different style of training. But I know the rule sets if I'm training for that.
Uh-huh.
Most people, if I'm training for wealth, then I have to have a different type of training. Right now, I'm not training for wealth. I've got all the money I need. I don't
Mm.
crave anything. Yeah, I turn left on the plane. I order what I want off the menu. Right? I've got everything that I want. I'm not chasing them all. Oh, now I need a big private jet. Oh, now I need a yacht. I don't need any of that. I have
Mhm.
a beautiful life with a beautiful lifestyle and a beautiful home, beautiful everything. So, and if it goes again because I lose financial weight, I know how to put the muscle back on. Does that make sense?
Uh-huh. Yes. So why do you think the scales tip when you keep that mindset? Why do you think that jail happened to you? Why do you think that, people lose when they keep and hold that mindset? Is it just the test or is it the movie that we signed up for?
There's a couple of reasons. I mean, if it's money, the most common one is that when most people are focused on making money, they end up making money. When most people get money, they're now focused not on making money, they're focused on trying to keep it through fear of loss. And their focus is on now, how do I
Mhm.
not lose the money? So therefore, they manifest losing the money because the brain doesn't
Mhm.
process negation, right? That's one
Mhm.
area. But the other thing is understanding what I said right at the beginning. Life is a growth centric experience. We grow through challenge, it's part and inherent. The first letter that I wrote from jail, I wrote a series of 11 letters to my elite students. We ended up publishing them in a book called The Inside Track, and it went on to win many awards. It's been told the greatest book that's been written in personal growth because it's real. It's not written afterwards where you're making stuff up or filling in blanks. This is unfolding as my private diary and journal in real time, day by day in jail, and showing my students how I'm coping with losing everything, how I'm coping being thrown in with murderers and drug dealers and what have you. Because I'd never seen anything like that before, right? And how I was using what I do, which is help people, to transform the experience of people in jail. How's I getting
Mhm.
people off drugs, stopping suicides, redesigning the intake system to reduce violence between the wings that's now being used in prisons all over the world. I just gave a talk at a state penitentiary in Louisiana about the same thing. I turned it into an amazing experience. But why? My very first letter I wrote to my students: don't worry about me, guys. I'm simply on location for the next 6 months filming the prison scene of my amazing movie. And you have to understand that you get graduation events. A graduation event is where you are tested on something that you know theoretically, but you've not had an opportunity to demonstrate for real. Right? If
Mhm.
you're a relationship coach, expect a breakup so that you can demonstrate if you can actually walk your talk and you're qualified to teach.
Yeah.
Are you able to repair that? Are you able to have a high conscious divorce rather than a low conscious divorce? In which
Mhm.
case, you're now validated. It's a growth centric experience. Therefore, you're going to get graduation events. For me,
Uh-huh.
prison was simply a graduation event. I've been teaching personal growth and psychology and how to rewire your belief systems and help people become more abundant and better versions of themselves for a quarter of a century at that point. Okay,
Uh-huh.
hot shot. Let's put you in prison and look at it. Look at the genius. The universe figured out the only way to smuggle me into prison without ever being accused of a crime and smuggle me out again 6 months later without a criminal record. It's phenomenal. I tip my hat. Right? Clever as hell.
Yeah.
So go see if you can practice what you preach. Yeah, no
Mhm.
cameras, no second takes, no fancy podcast studio. Let's throw you in a prison cell. Yeah, with people that are there for very violent crimes. And
Yeah.
now see if you can go help people. because these people don't sign up for workshops or podcasts. These people,
Uh-huh.
no, this is a different level. You think you're good? Go play. We'll see it. And yeah, if you fail the graduation event, then fair enough. At least we know where you're at.
Uh-huh.
The reason I chose to row across the Atlantic, which by the way is the most difficult and extreme endurance event on Earth, nothing comes close. Let me set the scene, right? A marathon is normally the gold standard. Yeah, 26.2 miles. Yeah, 42 kilometers. You can do it in 3 hours as a pro, 5 hours as a plotter, right? An Ironman, next level, takes about 14, 15 hours to complete. Then you've got the ultra marathons like the formidable Marathon des Sables, a marathon a day, back to back for 7 days across the Sahara Desert, right?
Mhm.
I've done that 20 years ago. Don't do it, right? That's done in a week. Arguably the most extreme televised sporting event is the Tour de France. 21 days of grueling cycling across the Pyrenees mountain, only 2 rest days. But what we're talking about is the equivalent of running 114 marathons back to back non-stop.
What?
The world's toughest row. 25 times more people have summited Everest than completed this event. There's more people that have been into space than successfully rowed the Atlantic as a pair. And I chose that. Yes, no, I wasn't sent there by the judge. I chose to row this ocean only a few months ago, less than a year ago, with my best friend Lee, ex-Royal Marine, 2 years. And it's a little rowing boat. It's like a beefed-up canoe, unsupported. No one's allowed to touch the boat. You're not allowed to have resupply. I'm not even allowed to hold up a T-shirt to dry because they class it as wind power, and everything's got to be arms and oars. And the way that you do it, because it's a rowing boat, you have to have somebody rowing at all times, or you drift. You're off course. The only way you can, control the boat is have water flow through the rudder. So we do it in 2-hour shifts. 2 hours on, one person recovers for 2 hours. 2 hours rowing, 2 hours recovery. 2 hours rowing, 2 hours recovery. 24/7 for just under 2 months.
What? What am I hearing right now? Okay.
Why did I choose to do that? Two
Why
reasons.
did you choose to do that?
The first is I need to know if I'm still qualified to teach. Because as much as that's a physical exhaustion, and it was physically the hardest thing I've ever done in my life, mentally as well, emotionally, spiritually, it was always going to be as much a mind game as it was a physical game. When you're 1,000 miles from land, and the nearest person's in the International Space Station, the nearest ground's 5 miles underneath you, and you've not eaten for 24 hours because you're seasick, you've got salt blisters all over your body and hands, and you've got to go, the alarm's off at 4 o'clock in the morning, you've got to go row your 2-hour shift till 6 a.m. in a raging sea backwards in the dark. Your mind's going to give you every excuse. Right? That's when I want to know where I'm at. I'm comfortable now. I've got a great life. I can theorize about that sitting on a podcast. But what happens when you're alone out there in the Atlantic? Right? So I needed to know where I was at, because if I'm not qualified to teach, that's okay. At least I know, but I need to hang up my teaching clothes. I don't have the right to tell my students to follow me, or empathize with them, or tell them, or lead them from a place they're expecting, if I can't practice what I preach. That's just not authentic, and that's not what I'm about. Authenticity is my buzzword, right? So that was one reason. The bigger reason is that everybody has their own ocean to row. For some people, it's a divorce, a traumatic business failure, stage 4 diagnosis, or maybe a loved one dying in their arms. See, Lee and I were lucky. We just got the Atlantic. So if there was things that I could learn on that to inspire other people, even at the small level, somebody's been moaning into me about their weight and is inspired to go run 5K because I just rode 5,000, then I'm helping people. If someone can get through their row based upon doing what we did, and we video diaried the whole thing across the Atlantic on my YouTube channel, from December 2024. And there I was 2 weeks later on Christmas Day in the middle of the Atlantic, New Year's Day, celebrating, with Lee, and in 5,000 feet of water, 5,000 meters of water. So, it was like, that's what I'm about, helping people. But it's a graduation event, and I chose this one myself rather than have a judge choose it for me for 6 months in jail.
Wow, my mind is hold on. My mind is completely blown. You are different than anyone I've ever met in my life. This is incredible. Wow, I'm so inspired right now. This is great.
Remember what I
Wow.
said earlier, Elizabeth? Just a mirror. Now, I'm
Yeah.
not saying you've got to go row, an ocean, but you've probably already rowed your versions of whatever that is. Yeah, we all have. And again, if I can inspire people doing what I did, then that's why I'm here.
Wow.
But never
Dang.
forget, it's about
Yeah.
wiping the fog off of your mirror.
Right. This is
I'm just a
wow.
guy.
God. Like a guy that rolls across the Atlantic and spends 6 months in the most violent jail. This is like what? My mind is blown. What sorry, my mind is still blown. When you were rowing, like were messages coming through you to you? Like what was your most profound thing that you got from that experience?
There was many. And again,
Uh-huh.
physically absolutely tough. Well, one of the, I'll share two lessons with you because I want to be respectful of the time for your viewers here. But one was after a week, the body was protesting loudly, right? Because again, you've got, it's too hot to sleep in the daytime. The cabins are too small. There's two little airtight cabins. And mine, I couldn't even stretch my legs in, and it was full of equipment. So yeah, and you're only ever going to be in there for a maximum of 90 minutes at night, because there's 5 minutes of changing over where I'm debriefing Leon on the sea state, the current, the wind, the course over ground, anything's happening while we change over on our 2-hour shift. Got to get in my little cabin, take my wet stuff off, address my sore spots, charge my headphones or head torch or what have you, set my alarm for 10 minutes before my next shift so I'm up on time, so I'm not disrespectful for the changeover. You've got to get the cortisol out of your body, where I've just been rowing hard for 2 hours and the body doesn't immediately want to sleep, because it's like you work hard at work, you get home, you need a glass of wine and Netflix to unwind sometimes, even though you're exhausted. So to be able to do that. And so the most sleep you're ever going to get is about 90 minutes 3 times a night, and sometimes not even that. And so after a week, the body was like, WTF are you doing? I'd been protesting a lot. But after a week, the protest started to die down. It made me realize something interesting, that a comfort zone isn't a comfort zone. It's a familiarity zone. And a lot of the time, what stops us from creating new habits or taking decisions that support our goals rather than support our comfort-centric illusions is that we resist what's unfamiliar, not what's hard, what's unfamiliar. But if you brush against that for a while, you smooth out the edges, and what was hard now becomes normal. If you walk to work 5 minutes every day, that's one thing. If you then get a job with an hour's commute, you're going to bitch about it for a while. But after a while, the hour's commute just becomes normal. That's how you progress. So that was one insight. And then another one was really about how to make peace with death. As I've said, if you think that death is the opposite of life, you're going to go kicking and screaming into your final scene. But if you think death is the opposite of birth, because how do you kill a spirit? And you've been in many movies before, you're going to be in many movies again. Then you have a different association. And one time, in a really violent sea, we had our rudder, which is made of carbon fiber, 6 times stronger than steel, snap in a violent wave. We'd already lost 2 of our 4 oars. We take 4 spare. And we'd lost 2 oars, carbon fiber, snap like toothpicks. Luckily, my shins wasn't in the way at the time. But I had to go under the boat with our spare rudder to try to replace it. Otherwise, game over. We've got to call the rescue team. And the average safety boat's about 4 days away, right? So I go under, and I'm being lifted out of the water 2 feet in the air and slammed 2 feet underneath, and it's exhausting, it's dangerous. I actually recorded a video for my partner saying that if I don't make it back, please know that I volunteered for this. It wasn't Lee's fault, what have you. It was quite emotional. But I went under, and I'm under the boat, and I'm holding on for a long time trying to get this rudder fixed, and I'm being lifted. I've swallowed enough seawater. I think I don't know if I've not hardly any strength in my arm left to hold on to the grab rail at the back, and it was a possibility that I wasn't coming back. And again, I was able to look back and think, if this is the final scene, what a fucking movie. Woof. Because I had that level of peace with death. And forgive the language, I don't normally swear on podcasts, but you wanted a real insight into where I was at. But that was where I was at. And I managed to get the rudder fixed, and I managed to get on and collapse in a fetal position for nearly an hour. To then have to get back on the oars to start rowing. And Lee, my friend, he got injured twice quite seriously, whereby he couldn't. There was 2 times where 1 3 days, 1 4 days he couldn't row because of a head injury, because the waves slammed the boat and hit his head. So I was rowing solo for a week out of the 8 weeks that we were there. Yeah, it was tough.
Oh my God, I need to go sit in a corner and think for the next 5 hours. Jeez. Wow. You are incredible. What an inspiration. Holy crap. I didn't even know. Wow, I didn't know. Dang, I wish we would have got a chance to like at least talk a little bit in person, but I'm sure we'll cross paths in the future. Oh my God.
The
Thank
per-
you so much for all your messages, all your wisdom, everything that you've done and been through and how you just keep on going. It's so inspirational. Wow.
Yeah, as I said
Like,
in my movie that other people don't get versions of in theirs. And if you
uh-huh.
can borrow something from mine in terms of the things that I do or how I teach or things that allow you to become mental mastery, because the reality is, Elizabeth, if you don't know how to master your mind, you'll never master your life.
Yeah.
And so that's really where my focus is, to be able to help people do that. Because if you would have crashed in the ocean and there was two of you in a boat and you had to row 1,000 miles, you would do it in that scenario. You wouldn't say, "Oh, screw it, I'm just going to die."
Uh-huh.
You would suck it up and you would do it. Right?
Yeah.
As hard as it seems from now, when you're sitting in a studio, that's there's no way I'd volunteer for it. But
Uh-huh.
if it came down to it, and push came to shove, or you had to do it to raise the money required to save your best friend from cancer to afford the treatment, and that's all you had to do, you'd do it.
Uh-huh.
Right? And there's
Yeah.
ways where we know how to step up, and there's ways we talk ourselves out of it. And unfortunately, most people are trained to talk themselves out of it. I just train
Uh-huh.
people to not listen to that voice.
Yes. Amazing. Peter, where can people find you?
My website, petersage.com. I'm all over YouTube. I put a lot of stuff out on YouTube. I run life challenges that people can join on how to use their mind and manifest and that kind of stuff. So yeah, I'm easy to find and follow. And but yeah, so I sign up to newsletter. I send an email every Sunday, giving insights and tips and stuff for free, just to try to help people. I mean, my mission now is to help raise global consciousness.
Yeah.
Essentially past the tipping point of what I call the old guard. I mean, we're in a transitional time for consciousness right now, where the old guard's trying to squeeze its hand tight for control,
Uh-huh.
and the more it squeezes, using force, the more it'll break its hand at some point. Yeah, but if we can
Mhm.
accelerate a level of understanding, so we go past the old, what I call the parasitic elite, and into more the high conscious level of humanity, then that's why I'm here. That's the ultimate genre that my movie's based in right now.
Awesome. Amazing. Well, all of those links, guys, will be in the description. Peter, it's been an absolute honor. I'm just, like I said, I'm going to go sit in a corner and think for the next 5 hours and reevaluate what I'm doing here. Um, so thank you. Thank you so much for everything and spending this time with me. I mean, this is going to inspire many. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you so much. Thank you.
Absolute pleasure. Keep doing what you're doing. You're clearly on your mission as well, and it's a real pleasure to be able to support it.
Thank you, Peter. Thank you. Okay. All right, guys. That was it. Holy crap. All right. Until next time, this was Unlimited with Elisabeth Carson and Peter Sage. Peace, guys. Peace.
This podcast is for informational and entertainment purposes only. The views expressed are those of the hosts and guests and don't necessarily reflect those of the producers or affiliates. We do not guarantee the accuracy of the content. Please verify information and seek professional advice when needed. By listening, you agree not to hold us liable for any actions taken based on this content. Thank you for joining us on this journey. We hope you enjoy the episodes ahead. Love unlimited, feel unlimited.
Before we wrap, if you're done living in loop mode, the addictions, the emotional swings, the stuck seasons, start with a tool that actually shifts your state. Go to unlimitedmeditationpack.com and download the free pack I created. It's 5 targeted meditations with theta entrainment frequencies that drop you into the zone where real subconscious reprogramming happens. These sessions calm your system, clear the old patterns, and open you up to better health, better connections, more clarity, and a life that finally moves. Start there. unlimitedmeditationpack.com.